Great. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Vince Hache. I'm a Director of Systems Architecture with Rambus and a CXL Consortium member, as well as a member of the OCP Composable Memory Systems group. And this morning I'm going to give you a quick overview of the work we've been doing, some details about what we're looking at in the future. We'll start off with a talk about the journey we've been on, what we've accomplished so far. Take a look at the different swim lanes of activities that we've been engaged in, and then take a look at our focus, what we're looking at now, and what's coming up for us in the future. So, if you look at the journey we've been on, it started in 2021 with the idea for the fact that memory requires composable solutions like this, and a bit of a market survey to gauge the appetite and figure out who the consumers would be and make sure the need was real, and then establishing goals for the work we wanted to set out on. Following that, in 2022, put together a team, started to identify some use cases that the work would address, and establish the swim lanes of activities that would take place. And then all this year is when things have really gotten moving. We had the Composable Memory Systems sub-project kick off. There's been the work done on some specifications, architecture specs, form factors, access tracker, things like that. And then, you know, what we're doing here at OCP, evangelizing, getting the word out on the work we're doing, and promoting composable memory systems. Today, well, at OCP, in the Experience Center, we have demos as well, which is really makes these sorts of solutions and the technologies that we're promoting feel a lot closer and real. In terms of team membership, in 2021, it was really quite a small group of people, which in 2022 expanded to a little over a dozen. But this year, we've really seen interest kick off. This is really turning into being a promising area of work. There are around 270 members across a wide variety of companies. The weekly calls have around 40 people every week. It's very well attended, a lot of good collaboration and contributions. And it's really diverse representation across the full technology stack, members contributing on different layers. The swim lanes of work, the sorts of things that we've been looking at, so there starts with node memory expansion. So expanding memory within a single server, that's obviously an important and obvious near-term objective. And then reaching beyond that, a pooled memory expansion type approach. So a handful of servers, figuring out what's the right mix, how do we get that all configured. Beyond that, we start getting into switched memory fabrics, so taking a look at the port-based routing fabrics defined in CXL and other mechanisms for sharing memory across large switch topologies. Large memory systems, and a new topic for us recently is near memory compute. So that's an area we're going to start looking into. Wanted to call out some of the co-travelers that we have with us. We have to collaborate with a lot of different standards bodies. So obviously CXL is a big one of them. The memory disaggregation technologies that they provide are instrumental in the work we're doing. SNIA and SDC we've relied on for help with some of the form factors and other types of mechanical specifications. JEDEC, obviously, since we're talking about memory, is important to work with. And DMTF is pivotal for the management of these systems. Once we have a pooled memory architecture, how do we assign the memory? How is it managed properly? We also rely a lot on academia. So some of the work being done to evaluate the promise, the advantages and disadvantages of some of these composable memory systems. And then, as always, like other OCP groups, very collaborative across the broader project. So for the last half of 2023, and you'll see it here at OCP, we've been releasing some system architecture documents. So we've got some white papers out. The GitHub has a lot of useful resources. And there's a recommendation doc. As I'm doing right now, we're evangelizing. It's an important thing to get the word out and convince industry of the promise of some of these technologies. So we're doing that here at OCP. It was done at FMS as well. We're participating in other conferences and webinars across SNIA, JEDEC, involvement with CXL. And today, as I said, we're actually demonstrating. So there's a row of demos over in the Experience Center that I'd encourage you all to take a look at. Looking ahead to next year, we really want to focus in on form factors. It's going to be very important for the industry to understand the physical incarnation of what some of these components in a composable memory solution would look like. Particularly if you look at a switch, that's new. A switch connecting memory to a server is a new concept. And does that look like an Ethernet switch, or is it modeled more after the sorts of switching solutions available through storage, right? Do we have memory appliances with embedded switches? Do we have a top of rack switch? So figuring out what makes sense for a form factor for switches, and then once that's established, what does that mean when we have a fabric, when we have multiple switches interconnecting memories and memory components and servers? Multi-headed devices, that's pretty new. So what form factor does that look like? And then as we start looking at NVMe devices that use CXL, figuring out the form factor for those as well. So there's a lot of work to be done on the form factor front. The system architecture references that we've looked at have been, we're crawl, walk, run approach. We're taking very straightforward use cases, and as we start to expand that, start to integrate things like peer-to-peer among components in a system, involving GPUs, expanding that out over a fabric. There's some emerging architectures, as I mentioned, computational memory, CXL over alternate transport protocols or interconnects. We'd like to start delivering some solution recipes, so like an implementation guide for people creating a CXL pooling system. And then a closer look at use cases important to hyperscalers, so AI, in-memory databases, warehouses, things like that. Taking a look at benchmarks with the use of some of these memory technologies and how tiering, memory tiering comes into play as well. And we'll continue with the evangelizing, more webinars and industry engagement. So I'll plug it one last time. We've got an experience center back there, a lot of really cool demos. I encourage you all to head back and take a look at some of the systems on display. And call to action, please join the CMS community. We're always looking for contributions. Everyone brings a unique perspective and skill set. So there's additional information up on the project wiki, and there's also a mailing list that you can join. All right, thank you very much.